We've been waiting on these Beats Solo 4 headphones for over half a decade now. So were they worth the wait? Let's find out. What's up, Internet? I'm Brian MacDuff, aka BMac, and welcome to another video. So yes, indeed, today we're going to be talking about these bad boys right here, the highly anticipated Beats Solo 4 on-ear headphones. So let's just get right into it here and start things out right away by talking about the design of these Beats Solo 4 headphones and how things look when you're looking at them on the outside. The Beats Solo 4s are Apple's latest offering in the Beats headphone lineup. They look pretty much exactly how you would expect them to look for being a Beats pair of headphones. However, this time around with the Beats by Dre and the Solo branding dialed back pretty substantially. A lot of the rest of the design has pretty much remained the same here, with a flex grip slightly padded headband and notch style adjustments. Plus your fully rotational ear cups, complete with what Beats is calling ultra plush padding material, which I must say is very comfortable, very soft to the touch, and does do a great job at ensuring long-term durability. But perhaps even more importantly, I think it's this ultra plush material that's actually allowing the Solo 4s to create a solid seal on your ear, providing for some better passive noise reduction, which we'll get into in just a few minutes. The headphones do easily collapse down in an inward direction to be able to fit easily into their included soft shell carrying case, but I must admit, I found them to actually be able to collapse down almost too easily. Technically, this is a non-issue here because so long as you're wearing the headphones, it's not like they're gonna collapse down on you, but I have noticed that if I go to pick up the headphones with one hand and grab them by the ear cup, things kind of collapse rather easily, which makes them feel somewhat overall flimsy. But going back to the matte finish here for a second, I think that it looks very nice and complements the overall headphones design on any of the three colors that are available for the Solo 4s. Those colors being, by the way, the matte black color, the cloud pink color, or slate blue. Clearly not nearly as many as color options or color combinations that we've had on Beats headphones in the past, but three solid color options nonetheless, all three of which I think look good, and I'm liking them. But quickly wrapping things up here as it relates to design, you are gonna see your power button and your LED indicator lights alongside a USB-C port, which obviously, yes, can be used for charging your headphones, but also for lossless audio streaming, with a 3.5mm audio jack alongside your physical volume up, volume down, and Beats button track controls. But speaking of these inputs and outputs, let's take a second here to go over the actual generalized performance of the Beats Solo 4s before we get into the nitty-gritty of what these actually sound like. One of the major updates that you're getting with the Beats Solo 4 headphones is that ability to stream lossless audio through that USB-C port with the included USB-C cable like we were just talking about. But one thing that is very different here with this feature on the Solo 4s compared to that feature on the Studio Pros is the inability to actually toggle between any kind of sound profiles like you can do on the Studio Pros. This is confusing to me because we have lossless audio streaming through USB-C, but on the Studio Pros, you can actually cycle through different sound profiles to kind of tweak the overall sound that you get, but that's just something that's totally omitted in the Solo 4s. If we had the ability to choose between different sound profiles, maybe then I wouldn't be so critical of the sound quality like we're about to talk about. You do also have the ability to listen through the audio jack with the included 3.5mm audio cable, which is actually pretty unique and pretty cool here because it doesn't require any battery life at all in order to do so. This does effectively give you endless listening time, so you don't have to worry about what the battery life is on your Solo 4s if you plan on listening that way. However, one of the major downfalls of the Solo 4s is that they lack any kind of active noise cancellation or ANC, which at this price point, I gotta admit, is just borderline astounding, especially when the Studio Pros usually aren't that far off in pricing and readily offer this ANC feature. It's not all bad on the noise cancellation front. You do get some solid passive noise reduction like we were talking about earlier, built into these, which does muff out a great deal of the ambient and environmental noise around you based on their design and that ultra plush cushion, but I still don't think it's quite enough to warrant their price tag. You do get spatial audio support with head tracking on the Solo 4s, which could be a very welcome feature if you wanted to immerse yourself in your music or your TV shows and movies, more so getting a more expansive soundstage. And while we're on the subject of performance, it is kind of interesting to point out here, although we saw the same thing with the Studio Pros, that there is no branded Apple chip being touted in the Solo 4s. As far as I know, it's just some proprietary technology, maybe a proprietary chip, but no specific chip like we had before, like no W1 chip or anything like that. which I personally think is probably Apple's way of conveying the Beats series headphones being more of an Android-friendly option when in direct comparison to the Apple AirPods. If you are an iPhone user, you still do get hands-free Siri support, so you can talk with your Siri voice assistant without ever even having to press and hold that Beats B button. And you also do get Apple Find My and Android Find My device support built in. Plus, connecting your Beats Solo 4s to either your iPhone or your Android is literally as simple as turning them on, putting them in pairing mode, and then bringing your device that you plan to connect them to closer to the headphones, where a little pop-up notification will appear, and you connect, and you're good to go. You also do get a microphone system built in to the Solo 4s, and if you're wondering how that sounds, I'd be happy to demonstrate that for you. This is what the microphone quality sounds like on the Beats Solo 4 headphones. This is raw audio recorded directly into the iPhone Voice Memos app without any kind of post-production editing, so hopefully this serves as a pretty good example of what you could expect. But more on connectivity here, you aren't getting any kind of multi-point connectivity with the Solo 4s, which might be a huge letdown for some users, but a little nod here from Apple to Apple users. You will be able to utilize audio sharing on the Solo 4s, meaning that you and a friend can listen to the same music from either your iPhone or your iPad at once when it's connected to AirPods and also perhaps your Solo 4s. Another feature that I really like to see these days in headphones or earbuds is wear detection. And unfortunately, there's no kind of ear or wear detection with the Solo 4s. This also means that, of course, if you take the headphones off, that your music isn't gonna auto pause and that things aren't gonna auto play when you put them back on. And of course, this also means that you're gonna drain your battery over time when you're still connected. But topping everything off in the performance/connectivity category here is gonna be Bluetooth Class 1 support, which is gonna give you a stronger signal with the Solo 4s over a much longer range. But unfortunately, no high-res audio codec support here, with the Solo 4s only supporting AAC and SBC audio codecs. There are other headphones within this price range or even cheaper readily available that support LDAC. But with all that out of the way, let's finally get into the sound quality here of the Beats Solo 4 on-ear headphones, so you know what to expect when you're listening to your music. Obviously, music is going to sound the best when you're hardwired via USB-C because of that lossless streaming, but even with that, I'm not all that enthusiastic about the sound quality we're getting out of the Solo 4s. It's not that the Solo 4s sound bad by any measure, but pretty much in any playback mode, whether you're listening hardwired or over Bluetooth, things just sound narrow and less expansive than I was expecting and hoping them to be. The bass is definitely present with some sub bass that I can certainly hear and appreciate without it being overdone like Beats have been notorious for doing in the past. But I have found the Solo 4s to lack a good amount of body, especially in the midsection, while they're also complemented with a lot of emphasis on the high end, especially on the high end, where sometimes there's almost a painful amount of what could almost be perceived as sibilance to make me just overall not so excited about how the Solo 4s sound. These headphones definitely sound better on some songs and some genres compared to others, but I just can't say that in general I've found anything that I've been blown away by. And I was just hoping that these would give me a little bit something extra in the listening experience with so many different headphones options available these days. Listen, again, the Solo 4s don't sound bad, but when you're comparing these to the dozens of other headphones I currently own and use on a regular basis, these just seem to be missing a well-rounded listening experience, and they're not something I would write home about. But let's switch gears here and talk about an area that is a strong suit for the Solo 4s, that being battery life, and how long you could expect your Beats Solo 4 headphones to actually last for. Apple is promising upwards of 50 hours of music listening on the Solo 4s, but do keep in mind that's at 50% volume, and I'm finding myself usually listening around 75% to enjoy the sound that these are capable of producing. So your actual numbers will probably be less than 50 hours. But even then, you'll almost undoubtedly get full day battery life, probably even multiple days of battery life, depending of course on your setup and your volume levels. So great battery life numbers here, even if most of that is attributed to the fact that these don't have ANC. But the cool thing is, even if your battery does run out, you could just plug these in with a 3.5mm audio connection, be able to listen to your music while these are completely dead. But if you are using the battery life on the Solo 4s and your battery gets low, you do have a quick charge feature, that classic Beats fast fuel mode, which essentially means if you plug these in and get them on the charger for 10 minutes, that's gonna result in 5 hours of audio playback. But with all this having been said, here are my final thoughts on the Beats Solo 4s and whether or not I think they're a pair of headphones that you should consider getting. If you like the fashionable design that Beats headphones provide, if you prefer on-ear headphones, and if you want them to play nice with iPhone or Android, plus the ability to listen hardwired through either the audio cable or through a USB-C connection, then you'll probably like what the Solo 4s are offering. But I do think they overall just lack a sense of body and don't really deliver a well-rounded listening experience that I personally will find myself wanting to listen to. And even if you put that aside, there's other sacrifices that are being made here between no ANC, no wear detection, limited codec support. There's a lot of sacrifices being made just to be able to wear the Solo 4s, and I'm just not sure if there's anything here that really makes up for all those omissions and makes them worth their price tag. If none of that matters to you and you still love the Beats brand, how they look and how they feel, all the above and everything else we just talked about, maybe you could get them and maybe you'll love them. For me, not my first choice, not bad, but not the greatest. And if you wanna see the latest deals, prices, promos, and information for the Beats Solo 4s, you can of course always head to my affiliate link, bmac.link/solo4, or of course there's gonna be clickable links in the video description box and in the comment section below, so be sure to check those out. But with that having been said, since these Solo 4s do offer spatial audio with head tracking, there are actually several Apple TV shows and movies that I gotta go catch up on. Get these at the ready. I will see you guys in my next video.